The water levels are declining already. Evidence is in boreholes that were drilled in earlier times. Because most of the boreholes that were drilled, let's say in 1980s, 1970s, most of them are drying up if they haven't dried up. Because those boreholes, generally they were shallow, but by that time they were having water, which was sufficient to meet the demand. But nowadays they are drying up. And two, currently in this sub-region, we are seeing a trend whereby the new boreholes are being drilled at greater depths. For instance, in Karen, nowadays they are going to 400 meters to 450 meters. Whereas in the recent past, they used to be a depth of 200, 250 meters. And if the water levels are declining, we have to find a monitoring tool to show us how they are declining and at what rate, so that you can take precautions. One of the mandates of WRA, that's Water Resources Authority, is to allocate the water resources. And therefore, we cannot allocate what we don't know. We must of all know what we have, so that we know how to allocate depending on the needs. And therefore, we are drilling a monitoring piezometer. These piezometers will be used to monitor not only the water levels, but also the water quality. Now, when we know the water levels, we will be in a position to know the amount of water that we have in this aquifer, and based on the applications that we do receive and the applications, the people who have already been given the abstraction permits, we will know the amount of water that will be abstracted per day, and based on what we have, we will be in a position to allocate equitably without depleting the aquifer. Either contractors who are doing the drilling or the clients who have contracted the drillers to drill the boreholes for them, what I can say is that for the job to be done in a proper manner, the clients are expected to engage a hydrogeologist who will supervise the works and ensure that these works are done according to the laid down procedures and regulations.
The first thing in bowls, I think the first stage is that the siting. So someone who is going to do siting should site it away from any surface waste, like now near a toilet or a septic tank. Then the pollution that is going to come in is development and the construction of that bore. Now that you know, like now in Nairobi, there is a pollution because of the environment. So the borehole, any aquifer that is above, that is like being affected by infiltration, is the shallow aquifers, like now that we are having in around 25 meters. So in production boreholes, the first thing is you have to seal that aquifer, make sure that it's not going to interact with the lower aquifers. So that's the one thing. So most people may not take into consideration that one. So probably the water that is going to be used is contaminated from the environment and the pollution that is surrounding it. WRA regulations gives at least one bolt to the next is 100 meters. I guess the diameter radius should be 100 meters. If you are going to construct a small closed boreholes and you are going to share, I guess, the same aquifer, if we are going to abstract water almost the same rate, there is a high chances that we're going to deplete that aquifer. So sustainability of that aquifer is not going to be guaranteed if we are going to drill boreholes as close as possible. So it's advisable for everyone who is going to construct a production borehole to have an expert or a geologist or an hydrogeologist who is going to have a record of it. And also, we should also take that records now through WRA now as a reference for the future construction of boreholes. And like also WRA depends on, like there is called BCR borehole completion report. She'll take that borehole completion report. It has the data, how the casing design has been done, at what point did they have the aquifer. So from this data now, WRA can get a regulation or just know which quality are we going to have, because also it's important when you have drilled a production borehole now, you take a sample for lab testing.
When it comes to management of water resources, one most important thing is to know the quality of the water. You know, we have different uses for water, for irrigation, for domestic use and such. So when we get the samples, now we want to check whether they are fit for the intended purpose. So after drilling the borehole, we would advise that one should know the quality of the water before they even consume it. So first thing to do is to have the water tested or analyzed. You get the certificate to see the quality of the water, and then from there you know whether the water is suitable or not for the intended purpose.
The amount of water that we are abstracting is not equal to the amount of water that is going back into the ground. If things are going to be exactly what they are today, and you are not going to take precautionary measures as early as today, in the near future, we may likely go to that situation where we do not have either enough water or no underground water completely.